Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard. Maybe talk a little bit about the exclusivity with some news coming up, and then hardware.
90 employers.
But we've had some
a lot of
unforeseen news that has come
lost
out.
Their jobs
so let's just go
Blizzard,
and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important
people from Overwatch,
for us.
Diablo.
So
all over Twitter, man.
That
they
we're
tweeted
that
they
4 games
they got laid
to
off.
The other consoles. So just 4 games. Not a change.
Screw you, Blizzard.
Fundamental exclusive strategy. It is.
And that happened after Microsoft
for some specific reasons.
Did they?
We make every decision really
after they
with the long-term health of Xbox in mind.
Controlled all
long-term health
all
of
the
Xbox
companies.
means a
The
growing
acquisition
platform,
of Call of Duty
games
and all
performing. Building the best platform for
creators. Imagine so.
Why
Why did you even
like as many players as
acquire
we can.
them?
We're always looking
these companies,
to learn
and
as a
then after that,
you and to grow.
Sorry,
we think this is an
you laid off all
point in
these
time for us
people,
to
man. Now they gotta
what some of
find
the
new
other
work.
platforms have right
So,
now.
It's a bullshit
grow our
move, man,
franchises,
from
so we're going to
Microsoft.
do that.
So these 4 titles.
It's ridiculous.
What are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans.
I don't know what
not
they're
too
planning,
far
but
away.
it's a
As
stupid
we know,
move, man.
game teams put a lot
Acquiring
of energy
that
into their
companies,
announcements with the
kick
partners. So
people off.
I don't want to take anything away from those teams.
I know what they're thinking.
So I won't be talking about the titles.
Big corporate
but
companies,
I
they
think
don't
when
know what they're
come
doing, man.
out,
They think what they're
it'll
doing
make
is
sense.
right, but
Can we say if either of
just
those
don't
titles
listen
are
to the people.
Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. The fundamental decision.
Starfield and Indiana Jones, he said, it's not coming.
Anything we're going to talk
to
about
other
today,
platforms, but he said 4 games. That's what I heard.
A growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today,
well, I'm not
it's a
a big fan of
place,
Xbox.
whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles,
I usually play
mobile
on my
console
PC,
and PC,
all the games.
you
and,
see big games
PlayStation
landing on
5,
multiple platforms,
I only play the
and
exclusives,
we want to be a great platform
not a big fan, so
for
I got everything
creators
in my PC,
that are trying to realize that potential.
I got all the games.
But now back to the specific.
Eventually, PlayStation games will come to PC, and
specific titles.
Console will be
we
dead.
looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously
Halo will come to PlayStation. Can you imagine?
Part of having
the people
the
who
ability
never
to
played
continue
Halo
to
now
invest
they
is
can
that
play
the
Halo on
businesses
PlayStation.
behind those
This is
franchises
crazy.
continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those,
I think it's
or
happening.
just other games like that in our portfolio.
Yep.
And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms
It's
have
happening.
to help us with that,
Xbox games can come to
and
PlayStation.
that's really the story
This is the
behind
history.
these 4 games. And
That's
last
what-
thing I'll say,
that's what-
looking forward,
That's what he's saying
I
right
think
now.
there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the
So
future
4
and
games
this
is-
concept of live service
Oh,
games,
so
and
not
games
that
that
they're
can
not gonna
benefit
release
bigger
everything, only 4
audiences, new
games.
audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
You know what?
Yeah, there's really
I think
no
after the
fundamental
rumor,
change
after
to
the
how
leaks
we think
that
about
happened, you know,
exclusivity.
all
We
over
just came out of
Twitter and
Developer
all
Direct,
over the
which was an
gaming
awesome
community,
show, where we showed great
they got
games
scared
not
and
only to
said,
Xbox and
we
PC
cannot
and
release everything
cloud,
now on other
which really
platforms.
makes them
We're just gonna
accessible
pick
to
4 games.
hundreds of millions of
And
people.
gonna release it
So
on
it's
all
just kind of
platforms. Like
we're
gaming
really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But
so they said
key
4
of
games. He
play
said
the games
Phil
you
Spencer
want
4
with the
games.
people you
So
want, anywhere you want, when
wanna see
everybody plays, we all win.
what these 4 games
These
are.
have been part of our strategy.
Is it
for
Halo?
years, and we'll continue.
Halo will come to
Our
PlayStation.
focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform. Xbox is a publisher.
I mean,
of
I don't want to
games,
trash
and
any
Xbox
Xbox
is a
fans out there.
platform for the
Just,
world's best creators.
that's my opinion. But
And then knowing that, how do we
what's
think
the
about
most
our first party
exclusive game
games
you got,
and Game
guys,
Pass?
for the last
Yeah, well, to build on
6 years or 7
what
years?
Phil just said, one thing I would add,
10
and when
years.
you were talking about growth, is
Yeah.
just that
Or 3 years,
we've
man.
sort
What's
of
the
seen
most
this
exclusive
inversion
game
over
that
the
you
last
guys
5
got? You
years
got not.
where
You guys
it
got
used to
nothing.
be that the platform was the biggest
Starfield?
thing,
Oh
and the
God,
games would sort of tuck in
it's trash,
within
man.
the platform. Today,
So
big
trash.
games like a Roblox or a Fortnite,
I heard
can
there's
actually be
Indiana
bigger
Jones
than
is
any
coming,
one
but
platform.
I'm not a big fan of.
That
Like,
really
I know
has
there's a
changed
lot of
the
people
way
who
that we
loves
think
Indiana
about
Jones,
things. So in the midst of all that,
but I'm not.
I
a
think
big fan
we
of
at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of
Starfield
starting
was
points
trash,
for us.
man. Like I
As
don't
Phil
like this kind of
mentioned,
games.
there are games today
It's
that you
boring
can
to
play
me,
that only
and,
can be found on
It
Xbox.
doesn't suit me.
And
know?
at the same time,
I just don't like
we
it.
want to bring more of
You
our
know,
games
my
to more
kind of
players.
games
So
is
we're going
like
to
Devil May
continue
Cry,
to
God
look
of
at
War,
that.
Uncharted,
Kind of moving aside though from some of
Ninja
those
Gaiden,
and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player.
Dark
To me, the
Souls,
2 key
Bloodborne.
things are crossplay.
Well, I didn't
and
play Dark
cross-save.
Souls, but
Those
know,
things
you get the
allow
idea.
us to deliver
Demon
on
Souls.
the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really
I'm a
only
big fan of
possible
fighting
at a
games. So if
practical
they got
level
Killer
when you
Instinct
know
and
that your
PlayStation,
saves
that's
and
a
your
big
player
hit.
are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some
apologize.
catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today. And it's
Oh,
all part of our commitment to make the Xbox experience and the games that we build as
I'm
widely
in PC,
available as possible.
so I'm
now
good,
the
man.
34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Yeah, but
Amazing.
it's
Can
not
we go back to
fantastic
the
when you're
point,
laid off
Phil,
like
you mentioned at the top, this
80
isn't really
employers
a
from your
change
company.
in strategy for
That's
us.
bullshit.
Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions
like
and
the
millions
only
of people
franchises
love,
that it is good in
and that they can play those games where they
really
want to play. But we do
Halo.
understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business,
nothing else.
The system
Nothing
today,
interests me
the
in
system
Xbox
that all companies that we
except
play
Halo
games from
and
is
Color
aware of. You
Instinct.
got to be
That's
growing
the
your
most
business.
terrific games
in our
I ever
Xbox
played.
business is critical to the long term.
Other than that, there's nothing.
Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years.
I love Halo, man. Halo
I
is
want to make sure
fantastic
Xbox is in the best position for the next 20
Killer
years.
Instincts
That means
is
healthy
one of
player community,
my
healthy
best
creator
fighting games
community,
ever played.
and healthy business.
Can you imagine
So
they
when we
still
look at
support this
opportunities
game to this
to
day?
allow more people to play, more
They're
people
gonna
to
do a
engage, more people to
crossplay
buy,
between
more people
Steam,
to subscribe. It's
because
all
I
about
have the
putting
game on
Xbox
my
in the best
Steam
position. And our hardware is a
platform.
critical component of that. The
I'm sorry.
absolute best experience
Steam Game Launcher
somebody has on Xbox
my
is
PC.
hardware that
Yeah.
your team builds.
Windows.
Windows.
There's a copy in Windows. There's another version.
We're going to have
The
Xbox
PC,
players
the Windows
across all
Store,
kinds of
which you
devices.
can play
So I think a lot
crossplay
of people think
ranked
about
game
2023
matches
as
with
this
the
incredible
Xbox,
year
but
for
in Steam,
gaming,
you
and in
cannot
a
play
lot of ways it
ranked
was.
matches
There was some really
with the
amazing
Xbox.
releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the
But they're
signals
gonna
behind the scenes that
implement
maybe
that.
indicated how we wanted to look at the future of
I
Xbox
think
and how we
after
kind of keep up
I don't
with
know,
the
but
industry?
they made
such a good question.
beta
and
test
I think
after
it's-
last
people
week,
who care about the
and
industry,
I
which
tried
I
it
assume
and it
is
was
people
so
who are
terrific.
watching this.
The
It
internet
was an
is
amazing
like
game. Some
the
great
rollback
logic, some of
netcode
the
is
games
so
that people
smooth.
stand
in
the
this
test
game.
of time, and people be
Can you
talking
imagine
about
it's
a
been
decade
like
from now.
10 years for this game.
But it's an
and this
industry
game
that
still
didn't really
rocks.
grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building.
Oh yeah,
a
you just
sustainable
laid off
business
like
for ourselves.
a lot
no
of people
way were
from
we
their
alone
work,
in
man.
that.
This is the
When you
only
think about a
income in their
healthy
life.
industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love.
Yeah, they
I want
they
people
bought
who
all these
invest
companies
their
and they said,
careers
you
in
know what?
working here to
We
feel
don't
like
need
this
a
is
lot of
place
people in
that
this company,
They
man.
can be
Just,
successful.
you know,
And that really is down to
them
being
off.
part of an industry
don't
that
need.
is growing.
There's
If you listen
now
to Lisa
AI
Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say
can take
that
their jobs.
AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have?
I bet every
Or
one
you
of
think
them have a
about how do I
PlayStation
expand
console
the business I
in their
have
homes, but they
by
don't want to
finding
speak
new
it.
players
They don't want to tell.
and adding those to the base of players that already
Like,
play. Our focus on
I love
Xbox
PlayStation,
for the
okay?
last decade has really been on that
But
latter.
PlayStation lately
So
have
how do
been
we
like
make sure Xbox is growing for
like
our
the planning
players,
of
growing for our
PlayStation
creators, so
and
those
the
people are
implementation
finding
of the
success
services, the
on
cloud,
our
and all
platform,
that
which will
bullshit, and
grow the
PlayStation
Xbox
Plus
business
games
and put
they
Xbox
pick
in a
the
position
most
to be very
garbage games
strong
ever,
for years and decades to come.
the prices of the Plus
Matt,
get
earlier you were
got
talking about
increased,
these
and
growing gaming communities, how
I just
they're
I said I had
incredibly
enough,
large,
man. I just
and
I can't
you know,
support PlayStation
comparable
anymore, man.
on such
Although,
a different
but
level
I
when
love
we
the
think about
exclusive games.
console audiences, like you
That's
mentioned.
why I
Roblox,
love
you mentioned
PlayStation,
Fortnite.
so.
So how are we?
Only
we're
the
obviously thinking about
exclusives.
our
So
responsibility,
because
our hardware
one of my
responsibility is
top
supporting
number one
the growth
favorite
of
game,
gaming
as you guys know,
communities.
is
How has
God of
that
War,
actually shown up for
and
the
I
players?
cannot
Are there
deny this
other
game
games
is
we can
my
speak to from our portfolio?
Well,
my
as
childhood.
Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones
So,
for us, Call
I
of
just
Duty
love
and
God of War,
Minecraft. I mean, they
so
are driven
matter
just
what-
from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games.
if there's a new
which is
God of
so great.
War
I think
and a new
think about
PlayStation,
it, for the player,
for example,
community,
6,
it comes
I'm
down
gonna play
to
PlayStation
where
6.
are the
This
friends,
is
where are
God
the
of
people
War,
you
man,
play
so
with,
come on.
and then
But
equally
you're
important
never gonna
is
see me like
where
buy a
have you
new
built up your
Xbox for a new
library of
Halo
games,
game. No
right?
way,
Where's
man.
where
No
have you
way.
invested? Where's
I have my
that?
PC, so
think
I can play that
those
game
two
in my
things
PC. So.
probably are some of the biggest influences
But
on where
eventually
people choose to
PlayStation
play and
will
what
have
devices
their
they choose to play.
all like
When we think
exclusive
about
games on PC. But
on the other
because
side, the
this
developer
is what is
side,
happening now.
just any game developer wants their game
I've
to
seen a
find the
tweet
biggest
for
audience
like
possible. That's just
I
the
think the
nature
vice
of
president
building a
who's
game. You want
speaking
people
about
to enjoy and
bringing all the
participate in what you've
PlayStation
made.
exclusive games, the
And I
first
think
party
we're
games,
in
first
a unique position to deliver
party
on that,
games.
just because we are the
I don't know what
platform.
I
We
said.
build hardware.
to play
We've
to
got a
PC.
first-party
So
games group, and then
that
we've
happened
got a
like day
system
one.
that ties
That's
that
what happened
together,
with
that brings
what's-
together your
what's the name of
friends,
that game?
your progression,
Helldivers?
your achievements, all of that.
Oh no,
And I think
they
that's
released the
really
game
what
now
has
in Steam,
contributed to the momentum
and
behind
it
some of
did
these communities.
terrifically.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
It
I mean,
sold
when you
well.
look
There's
at
a lot of
just step back
players,
and you look at the history of the industry,
and
we've moved from a place
PlayStation
where it
is
used
thinking
to
about
be
like
that someone built and launched
first
a
release
game
in
to
console,
accelerate
first
hardware,
release on PC.
to actually the things
which
we
was
do
gonna
with
be
our
awesome.
hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like crossplay, cross progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Power World. You know, Power World was able to launch. They
Oh,
were in
Power
game
World, man,
preview,
made
they
a
launched in Game Pass,
huge
they also
impact, man, to the
simultaneously
gaming
launched
community,
in
man.
Steam.
Especially
the
Pokemon
combination of those
community.
things, you know, Pocket Pair
They've been
was able to
bitching
have
for
this
a game like
outsized
that
success,
for
and
Nintendo
it
for
was the
decades, and
largest
just
third-party
Power War
Game
just
Pass launch
swept by
ever.
and said,
And that's
"Hello,
all because
bitches.
we give creators
I'm doing it
options on
right.
how they can
Come
launch
play
their
my game."
games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free to play, we've got game preview, we have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have
I don't use
double-digit
actually
growth
Game
rate
Pass on
PC and
PC,
cloud, places
so
where we're enabling creators
I just
to
don't use
actually
it.
reach
I don't know
new
why.
players
I like
beyond
to
the
own my
console
own
ecosystem.
games. You know,
And that's
when
why
I
we're
buy.
leaning into it and
I like to
doing more
support
because we see
Steam.
all those signals.
Steam is one of
So we're
the best
talking
game
about the
launchers
role that
in PC,
hardware
man.
plays for creators,
Especially
for the games,
Valve.
and those
Valve
communities.
is one
What
of the
about
best
the role that
companies.
hardware plays for us as a business for
So
Xbox?
I just,
When we look at our
I
hardware,
just love
it
to own the
really
game. I
is,
don't
and Phil
like,
said this
you know, to
earlier,
just
it's
have a
where you
subscription
get
for Game
like
Pass
the
and
most
play the games for a
flagship
couple of
seminal
months, and
experience
you
of
know,
Xbox.
and then
And it also
gone.
represents
No, I
a
don't like
developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware.
I like to own my
and we
own
invest
shit.
to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as
I
possible.
apologize, you guys.
And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is
limited. On
traditionally
PC,
it's
like an open
tighter,
ocean.
which
You can do
makes
everything.
compatibility. You end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say
Heck, man,
compatibility,
I can
the
like
ability
my
to not
Steam
only
Deck,
play the
I
games,
can mod
but my
every
saves
game
are
or
still there with our
every
cloud
game
save
that I want.
systems
Yeah.
to
I
try
can
to
put
keep the services up as
emulation.
long as we can. So
I
that
actually
people
have
can play,
emulations for
is a
PS2,
tenet of
GameCube,
what
and
we are as
Dreamcast
Xbox. It's at
in
our
my Steam Deck.
foundation. And when we look
So I
at
can
future
play
hardware
any game I
generations
want, man.
and
So
what
that's
we're going
what I
to support,
love about
making
PC.
sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Mm-hmm. Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're
That's a
playing on a
joke.
platform
No.
where you get to access
Good
Game
one, though.
Pass.
Good one,
And
though.
all the
biggest
from our
games.
incredible range of studios will always launch on
That's
Game
funny.
Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features.
Yeah, that's why
crossplay,
Baldur's Gate 3 won
cross-save,
Game of the Year.
cross-progression,
Yeah.
backwards
And
compatibility.
Xbox is the
Being
console
able
of
to play your
all
games in your
gamers,
library
all the,
anywhere you want
know,
because of the investments that we make in
exclusive
cloud gaming.
whatever.
And so you're playing somewhere where you're
It's
investing
bullshit.
and you know
This
you get to
console is
take the
bullshit.
games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest
Don't
more to
invest
bring
in this
even better
console.
experiences to you
I
all the
recommend
time.
you to invest on a PC.
Yeah, just that investment
is
in
way
the
better
studios is so,
than
and we
console.
feel that
Mhm.
as part of first party with the platform.
Unless if you want to
proximity.
play
You
like
know, it's,
Spider-Man 2, God of War,
kind of
then
amazing now to look out
buy PlayStation,
across all the studios
save some
we've
money,
got
then buy
and
PC.
just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest
Yeah.
development
Or wait,
organizations
because
in the industry.
Eventually,
What does that
Spider-Man
mean
2
for
and
players? It means that
God of
the
War
biggest games are going to continue to
Ragnarok
come to
is coming to
Xbox.
PC. So.
And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game.
Oh, right. I love
There's
Hellblade.
more in development.
I played
which,
Hellblade in
I think we're
PC,
gonna be able
and
to share
it's
more
one
about
of
at our June showcase.
most
Well, I guess
amazing
I should
games.
get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for
Yeah, but
showing up
Hellblade's
on the
not
podcast
exclusive.
today. And
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see
The
the
first
rest
one
of
was
you
not
this
exclusive,
June.
but
Yeah.
they made the second one
Thank you.
exclusive. I think so. Oh, let's see the 4 games. They said 4 games are coming. Oh, that's it? What the fuck? That's a horrible show. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the reaction, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later with another video. Peace.